Welcome, everyone. So, the week of September 9th, we're going to be working with the vibration of the 37-1. This is a beautiful energy. And so, let's talk about the one first. But before we get into that, I do want to mention that we are definitely going to be feeling the energies of this eclipse that's coming up next week. And we'll certainly dive deeper into the vibration of the eclipse when in the forecast for next week. But I do want to mention that we're going to feel it this week. So it could influence our decisions, how we choose to take action, because this eclipse kind of brings in a more ethereal nature. There's sort of this very dreamy, very like rose colored glasses type of energy that we can be working with under this eclipse. So we just want to keep that in mind as we're making our decisions on how we want to take action this week. So let's talk about this one vibration. So with the one energy, it really brings the drive and the motivation to take action on something. So it can be a really impulsive type of energy where something comes in, we don't think about it, it just feels good, so we say yes to it and we go after it. One energy is that vibration that gives us that confidence and the courage to say yes to what we would maybe not normally say yes to. And so there can be a lot of impulsivity with the one vibration, and there can also be a lot of taking risks. And this is beautiful because we need to do this in life in order to continue to evolve and to move forward and to achieve and, get whatever it is that we're trying to achieve. But when we have the influence of this eclipse also kind of coming in, that brings that sort of more, again, ethereal, rose-colored glasses type of vibration, what we're seeing might not always be what we're getting type of thing. And so I don't say that to be like overly cautious or skeptical. I say that so that we can take a very practical approach in whatever it is that we want to sort of go after this week. So just make sure that you come back, get grounded, check in with yourself. Just make sure that if you're taking some kind of a risk this week, that it's maybe not high stakes. I would say the more moderate to low stakes, those type of risks are great this week and can really help us to get ahead and to, sort of get a lot of ground as we move forward and gain momentum in whatever it is that we want to move forward in. But if there's something that is high risk, high stakes, and we sort of just impulsively say yes to it this week, there is that possibility that we will have buyer's remorse after sort of we move through the higher energies of this eclipse. And so, when something is high risk and high stakes, when it doesn't work out, it can derail us, right? It can be hard to sort of recover from that. So again, I would just say manage your expectations this week. If someone or something presents to you, just make sure that you're seeing it for what it is or who it is, that you're meeting that person where they're at, and you're not putting these sort of high expectations or sort of seeing them at their highest potential, but that you're seeing them for what they are right now, right? And that can be, again, some kind of endeavor, some kind of project or job or whatever, or it could be a person in a relationship. So if you meet someone this week, which is very likely because we're working with the vibration of the 37, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but if you meet someone this week and sort of your heart starts beating, your pulse is racing and you just fall head over heels, I would say, enjoy that energy, but take it down a few notches, bring it back to reality, and really try to see that person for who they are in this moment and not what we're projecting onto that person, right? And not to just allow whatever we decide this week to be completely emotionally driven. And that's the other piece with the one vibration. It can be this strong, like sort of raw type of energy that can be very emotionally driven. And this eclipse is also bringing in really strong emotive energy. So again, this week, we could be led by our emotions so much that we're missing the details of what is actually being presented, right? So I would definitely say that under the influence of the one, and again, this eclipse that's coming up next week, just slow down. Just slow down. The one is always a vibration that can be really fast moving and combustible. And it's kind of like this fire energy that if it's not sort of maintained and sort of controlled, it can turn into a forest fire real quick. So you just want to make sure that whatever sort of you're engaged with this week, whatever you decide, whatever presents, that you're slowing down, you're not being overly impulsive or overly reactionary as well, but you see it for what it is. You take it in, you explore it, you sit with it, you manage, you go through your pros and cons, whatever you need to do to just pace yourself. I would say pacing yourself is probably a really good solution for the energies this week. And that doesn't mean that you have to say no to whatever presents. It just means you want to feel really good about it. And you also want to be sure that you're seeing it for what it is, not the potential of it, whatever it may be. And that includes a relationship. The other thing that I would say is definitely be mindful of your reactions this week. Again, a lot of really strong energy. So it would not be unheard of if there was some kind of conflict or sort of confrontation that may occur this week, and you just want to hit the pause button and remove yourself from that engagement long enough to sort of check in with yourself, calm down, manage your emotions so that you don't say or do something that could, that you might regret later on. And same thing, if you're in some kind of a engagement with someone or some kind of conflict with someone and they're being reactionary, you have every right to remove yourself from that experience, right? You can say, let's reconvene when we can both, come to this conversation without our hot heads, right? Where we can be more emotionally stable, so to speak. So there could definitely be some opportunities for that this week, where you just want to make sure that you're managing your emotions, that you are showing up in the most sort of emotionally mature way possible to any circumstance that presents. And don't feed into anything that sort of continues to trigger and sort of charge those emotions, because the result of those conversations are not going to be beneficial to anyone involved. You're better off removing yourself from that situation and then reconvening when everyone is in a place where they can have those conversations and it will actually lead to something constructive. The other thing I would say is, if you're feeling these strong charged energies this week and strong charged emotions, the best thing that you can do, aside from acknowledging those emotions and feeling them and moving through them, is to take action in some way. Do something constructive that can actually channel and transmute and funnel that energy into something constructive, right? When we feel those energies and those emotions sort of bottled up, it can lead to frustration very quickly, or it can lead to outburst really quickly. And a better sort of method would be to take action in a way where you're allowed to move that energy, where you're able to do it in a way that's constructive. So get up and go for a walk or a run, paint something, just move your body in some way, or, create something, channel that energy into something creative, and then you'll have something productive as opposed to destructive from those charged emotions. That's very possible that we could be feeling that high energy this week. And if we don't have a place, if we don't give it an outlet, it will find its own outlet. And we might not always be pleased with the outlet that presents. Okay, let's talk about the 37. This is interesting because this is sort of it's a very calming type of energy, which I think counterbalances this one vibration this week beautifully. So I would say lean into this if you feel those higher emotions coming out, or that strong energy, or if you feel overly impulsive, lean into this 37, because it is a very calm and centered type of energy. And you can kind of lean into that to calm your nerves a little bit as you move through some of the higher vibration or higher sort of friction this week that might present. What's also interesting about the 37, so we have the 3, which is, can be about collaboration and networking and communication and, connecting with other people. This is a really beautiful week for that. So if you do have those invitations come in this week, or you meet someone and you feel connected to them in some way, creatively or collaboratively, This is such a great week to entertain that and explore that and to really connect with that person or those people and see what comes out of it. So you're kind of channeling your own creative energy into something that's collaborative that could actually build something quite sustainable if that presents. The other thing is you might see that you meet someone at this time or someone that you know who has some kind of influence or has strengths where you may have weaknesses, could present at this time that they're able to assist you in some way. So if there's some kind of project that you've been looking to get off the ground or to launch, and maybe you needed some financial backing, or maybe you've needed someone who has, again, the strengths where you might have weaknesses, you could see those people present at this time, and they could be very willing to assist. One thing that I would say is when we're moving through a 1 vibration, we can feel that really strong sense of independence, like we want to do it ourselves, and we want to be sort of that hyper independent person, right? So it's interesting that we have the 37 because that 3 brings in that need for collaboration and that need for sort of working together in more of a team environment to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve. So I would say definitely be open to what presents or who presents this week when it comes to that collaboration, because they could easily take you or your project to the next level, and it could easily become something quite fruitful and successful. But this is definitely not a week to sort of have that like strong independence where you just want to do it yourself and you're not going to listen to anybody else's advice or ideas or want to collaborate with anybody. This is definitely a beautiful, beautiful supportive week for collaborating and working with the way that other people work, right? Everybody has their own creative style and everybody has their own way of expressing themselves. So when we're collaborating with others, we really have to be open to everybody's way of, you know, expressing themselves and how they bring their gifts to the table. So it's this week could be a great exercise in sort of that teamwork and that team environment. But definitely accepting the assistance from others this week can prove to be very, very, very beneficial in the long run, for sure. As long as, again, you're maintaining that sort of practical approach and you're making sure that you're meeting that person where they're at and you're seeing the potential, but also seeing where things are at right now and managing those expectations. That's really going to be sort of the key mantra or key word this week or words to manage our expectations, and to really just meet people and whatever presents where they're at. It's interesting because we also have that 7 vibration, right? The 37. And that 7 vibration can bring in deeper contracts, right? So contracts, right? But that because it's 7, it's like that soul contract type of energy. So again, we just recently had this with a 9 vibration, I think last week. Anyway, this is sort of an extension of that with those soul contracts. So you could definitely meet people this week where there's some kind of deeper soul contract where this could be a soulmate. This could definitely be a partnership that is meant to be in your life for a period of time. It doesn't have to be romantic, although it will for some of you likely be romantic, some kind of deeper partnership on that level. But it doesn't have to be. It can be, you know, any kind of deeper connection that comes in that is meant to show us something about ourselves that we wouldn't be able to see had we not had this deeper connection. For some of you, it can absolutely be a deeper connection with yourself. So this could definitely be an opportunity for much greater self-discovery. But it's interesting because it's almost like that greater self-discovery in working with others, in collaborating with others, because we also have that strong vibration of the 3. So it's greater self-discovery through deeper relationships, again, collaborating with others and sharing expertise with others. So beautiful energy there. I would absolutely say pay attention to the people that you meet at this time. And it's not even like you have to pay attention. I don't think you're going to miss it, right? Like if you meet someone who it's a soul contract, you're going to know it, you're going to feel it, and it's not going to be avoidable. So, and this is where I would say, you know, it's definitely that kind of vibration where it could be like love at first sight, or what we think is love at first sight, or seeing someone and just immediately being like drawn to that person, or almost like you feel like you've known this person before, or maybe had a past life with them or something like that. It's that kind of energy. So it would be very easy to go all in very, very quickly and sort of lose yourself in that connection or that person. And, this is where I would just caution you to say, definitely explore, definitely go all in, all of those things, but just pace yourself and take your time. Like, there's no need to rush. There's no rush, right? And just really get to know that person for who they are in this moment, not the expectation that you might have for this person, not the potential that you see in this person, but who are they right now and how are they presenting right now? And get to know this person as who they are right now, which, when those strong emotions are involved, it can be really hard to do that. So just pace yourself. The other thing I would say is this is interesting energy too, because it's almost like, again, we talked about that sort of very ethereal, dreamy type of energy that this eclipse is bringing in, and we're definitely feeling the effects of that now. But because of this 37, it's almost like this magical, you're kind of like in this magical labyrinth, and things are not always as they appear to be, but things can be uncovered now that wouldn't easily be uncovered without this vibration. And what I mean by that, it's like I have this this vision of walking through a labyrinth where there's all this kind of like overgrowth, and as you kind of move the overgrowth, you sort of see the door, right? A new path, a new doorway, a new opportunity that had you kind of rush past it or try, if you got too if you were too frantic in trying to find your way out of the labyrinth, you would miss these beautiful opportunities that are sort of in, throughout the labyrinth. That sort of that exploration and that taking your time and pacing yourself allow you to discover, right? So it's very possible under this vibration that you will discover something about yourself, something about others, something about the universe, something about life, whatever, that you wouldn't have discovered if you were too impulsive or moving too quickly through this vibration. So though you might, it's kind of like this push-pull type of energy, because the 1 is very impulsive. It's very action-oriented, very driven. The 37 is much calmer. It's very much more slow moving. It's much more about getting to the truth of something and diving deeper and really getting to the depth, right? So you kind of have to find your balance in these energies. And if you can do that, and again, if you can pace yourself and if you can have that sort of more practical approach, doesn't mean that you can't have what you want and get where you're going. You absolutely can and will. It's more about pacing yourself in the process, right? And if you can do that and bring yourself back to your center and meet yourself and others where they're at in this moment, then this energy is going to work for you very, very well this week. So yeah, beautiful energies. I love it. And I think, again, what you could discover about yourself, what you can discover about others, your beliefs, their beliefs, just life itself can be quite profound this week. The other thing I would say is, again, because we're working with the vibration of the 7, is don't force anything this week. This is one of these times where there's going to be potentially a lot of like synchronicities, serendipity, where things will present themselves to you. And you just have to kind of, again, pace yourself as you explore and sort of move through the experience to decide whether or not it's something you want to pursue or if it's something that isn't for you at this time. So very interesting energies. I'm moving through a 7-year this year, and I will say, all I can really say about a 7 cycle is it's very strange. Like, it's very weird. There's a lot of weird things that can come up. And I have noticed that when I try to force things, things fall away, things don't work, they just go to shit. But when I can, hold the vision for what it is that I want, while also being very open to what the universe, my soul, whatever presents to me, I'm getting like the most out of those experiences. So there's a lot here about surrender. There's a lot here about taking your time, pacing yourself, coming back to your center, and sort of channeling any deeper emotions that might be hard to move through into something constructive. And it's a short cycle. It's only a week long, but there's a lot to be gained this week, especially as we move into this eclipse next week. So it's going to be a powerful week. I hope it's a great one. Take care. Thanks for being here. Bye.